Hey guys and gals, and welcome back to another video. Today we are in a desktop app called Thonny, because in today's video I will be teaching you guys how to code in Python. Now I do realize that I might not be the best person to teach you because I am still learning as well. But I thought I'd share with you guys some of my experience and how I sort of went as a beginner as well. I know some of my friends who also want to learn some coding, so, that's why I'm making this video. So, Python, in my opinion, is a very good coding language. Other popular ones are Java, JavaScript, C#, C++, stuff like that. I've already made quite a few stuff in Python. I chose Python because that's what they told us to use at school, so we're using Python. But here you can see I've made some games already. There's Tic-Tac-Toe, there's Hangman. I'm actually quite proud of this Hangman, but yeah, so today we'll be going through the basics. And yeah, if there's anything if there are any questions you'd like me to answer about Python coding, just tell me in the comments below. And also if you see me doing something wrong or doing some weird stuff and you're like a pro coder, then do tell me so that I can correct my mistakes, and also because it's nice to learn new things. Okay, so to get started, I'm just gonna adjust my mic. To get started, we need to learn the basics of Python. So with Python and any other coding language, there are different functions. So you can do things like print hi, and then you can run it. Let's save this video demo. So you can run it, right? And then it'll print hi. In this, it is called the shell. It is where it's where most of the outputs in your code will go. So when you do a print or when you do a player input, but we'll get to that later. So one of the main things that you can do in Python, you can make text games, you can run things to play sounds, but that's modules, and that's more complicated stuff. But the first thing we should learn when we do coding is variables. Now, variables, think of them as like a storage container, like a Tupperware box. You have your variable, like your container, your storage thing, and you can name it something. So I'm going to name a variable my underscore variable, right? And then you can set this variable to something. It can be a string. A string is basically the term for words in coding. So string. You can set your variable to a string. You can set it to a number. You can set it to a floating point integer. You can set it to many things. You can set it to things like lists. But for now, we'll set our variable to a string. So the way that you define a string in Python is you surround it with quotation marks. These things, or you can use quotation marks, so the 2 lines, or the apostrophe, the 1 line. Either way works. You just use them depending on what. Sometimes if you have like an apostrophe inside, like you want to say wouldn't, you need an apostrophe for that, and it would think that, so like this one, it would think that this part isn't part of the string, so in which case you'd have to use the quotation marks instead of the apostrophe. But I mainly like to use the apostrophe because you don't have to press shift with it. But anyway, so you can set a variable like this, my variable equals string, right? And then one of the things that you do in Python, you can use this command print. So you type out print, and then in these brackets you put in what you want to print. So if you want to print out some words, you type it like a string, and you put quotation marks or apostrophes, and then the word you want to say, and then you finish it with another apostrophe or quotation mark. But if you want to print a variable, you do print, and inside the brackets you just put the name of the variable. So you can do my variable. Yeah, so you can do print and then my variable. So if you run it, it'll say string. So these are just the very basics of code. So just to demonstrate to you how it works, you can make it a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you run it again, see, it prints the numbers. You can also make numbers a string. You can do like that, and but you can do like this, and that works too. It depends on the uses. If you want it to be a variable or a string, but you figure that out later. So you can set your variable. So let's set it to string again, right? And then you can do print my variable. If you want to add like string plus the word integer, right? You can do that. You can do print name of variable plus. So if you have another variable, you can do my variable plus the other variable. Or if you want to print a variable and a string of text, you do your variable name plus string of text. And as always, you have the quotation marks or apostrophes around it. And see, it would work. It would say string integer. If you want a space, just put in a space in integer, and then you can see string integer. So this is just the print in variable basics. You can make things a lot more complicated. In here, like you can get like the inputs of players and stuff. But if you want to make a very basic, like you say hi and the script says hello back. If you want to do something very basic, like you type in hi and then it says hello back, you'll need to take note of the function known as input. So in my games like Hangman, it says here variable equals input. And so what the input does, basically it sets player input equals input and then brackets. Basically what input does, it puts a string of text inside your shell where all of your text and stuff goes, and then you can put in an answer and press enter, and then it will set your variable to what you said inside the shell. The easiest way to demonstrate this is to say player input say something, right? And then you can print your player input. Player input. No need for apostrophes because this is a variable, not a string. So you can see here, say something. It will ask you to say something. It won't do anything until you give it an input. So I can put in like, say something, I'm giving up on you. See? And then it will print back what you put in. So this input function is crucial if you want to create things like games, like text-based games like this Hangman over here, and other things, like if you want to, like if you're doing a quiz, you can like say a word and then you have to get them to like like I'm working on a project, like it plays a note, it asks you what note was this. If you get it right, um if you get it right, it'll say correct. But all of these rely on the input function for the person who's running it to give the script information. Now I'm just gonna put a new line there. This symbol here means new line. It's quite handy. It basically means that the text goes on a separate line, so you don't have to do, so that you don't have to print something again, so that you don't have to do, this thing that lots of people do, to create a space in between. It's just a handy thing. It's just the /n. So instead of it happening on next to it here, like it did before, it's underneath it. So I'm giving up on you, like that. So yeah, these are some of the very basics. I'm just gonna write out a quick thing, like a text, like if it says if you type in hello, it'll say hello back. If you type something else, it'll just say okay. So player input equals input greeting. Oops. Input greetings, fellow human. What in the world? Why is there an asterisk? Anyway, okay, greetings, and then, oh yeah, this here, right, is if, that's if, basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. If this, then that. So, if player input equals. So in Python, whenever you're trying to say, does this equal this, you do two equals. I'm not sure why. That's just how it works. Because if it's one equal sign, it thinks you're trying to set the variable to something. But if it's two equal sign, it knows that you're trying to check something. So anyway, if player input equals hello. Right. This is very basic code. It can't account for if there's capitals or not, but this is just a demonstration. If player input equals hello, print. That's just a new line so that it goes underneath. Hello to you too. And I'm gonna put a new line over here so that the player puts in the hello underneath. Print hello to you too. And then you can do else. Basically means oops, I hit the mic. Basically, what else does, you can use it with a lot of other things, but it's used a lot in if, when you use if. Basically, it's if else is run if this wasn't run. So, if player input doesn't equal hello, then do this, then do the thing in this area, in the else, within else. You can print. Okay. So let me run you through it again. So this variable is set to an input. Basically, it'll ask you a question in here, and then you answer it, right? And then it will run an if statement. So if what you said equals hello, it will say hello to you too back. But if what you said is not hello, it will say okay. So let's run it. Greetings. Hello. See, it'll say hello to you too. Oh, I don't need the new line. Forgot about. But see, greetings. Hello. see, since it wasn't hello, it had a forward slash. It just says okay. So this is a very basic thing. You can use this like one of my friends did. It just like, like a sort of adventure based story game. Like you do this or you do this, and then it progresses with the story. Um, I wouldn't call him a friend. He's more of a classmate. But yeah. So this is just some basic Python coding. If you guys have any questions, again, tell me in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, just give me some feedback on this, and I will see you in the next episode.